We launched with a tremendous amount of self-doubt, a tremendous amount of imposter syndrome. So I did rate myself as a cashier. I still rate myself as a cashier. Like, he'll describe it, I'll get what he's saying, and then it'll just happen.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful in the One Life experience that I've gotten to meet different people from different backgrounds. I mean, now, last week or the week before, we celebrated 8 years of One Life. So the
Congratulations.
story is a little bit not old, but it's been a while. So if you believe that you get no sequel, then you've got this life to kind of achieve everything you want to achieve.
Hello, you guys. I hope you're well. So, our today's guest is the founder of one of my favorite places in Dubai. That's One Life. I have been waiting to listen to his journey and all that he has done so far. So, finally, the day has come. So, yeah, let's go and meet him. Hi, Najib.
How are you, Kenneth?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much, first of all, for joining us on the podcast today.
Sure.
I would be happy to say that I've been wanting to do this for a while, but
Yeah.
then finally I have you here in person
Yeah.
to talk to you on the podcast, so I'm happy.
It's very exciting to be here in this Moroccan themed room.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I think fair to start off with a story of Najib. How did it begin that you wanted to do something around restaurants particularly, or did you want to do something different and then something changed in between and then all of this just unfolded?
I mean, now, last week or the week before, we celebrated 8 years of One Life. So the
Congratulations.
story is a little bit not old, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
But back in 2014, I left my job. I was working in a corporate job and several corporate jobs for about 9 years. And I very much felt out of place in that world. I think even today I feel out of place in corporate situations. It's not really my vibe. But it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to get into the food business. I've definitely always been interested in food, always been interested in cooking, always been interested in eating. And I have 3 kids now. I see in my kids also this passion for, tasting different ingredients within food. So we've kind of always been like a foodie family. And I guess for me, at that time when I was leaving the corporate world, I really wanted to start my own business. And when I left my job, I didn't have a business plan per se. I had a few ideas floating around that I wanted to do. Most of them were food related. And I do think in the end, every job, and I see what I do as a job, even though, it's my business,
Yeah.
I see it as a job. I feel every job has its good sides and its bad sides. And it's really about, can you tolerate the bad sides of your job? And for me, like being in the food business in general, I love it, being in hospitality, and the downsides of it or the negative sides of it are okay for me. They're
Yeah.
much better than, say, the negative sides of being in the corporate world, which I was in before.
Yeah. Now, when you've told me that you had a corporate job and you then came out of that and did something of your own, I can't see you being in a corporate job,
Really?
to be honest, because you are a people's person. Like, as much as I've seen you,
Yeah.
you are a people's person. You like always want to talk to people. You're always around people.
Yeah.
And seeing you in a corporate space would be just, I think, not the right fit.
I think honestly, I've probably changed a lot also in 8 years. Like, I don't think I was ever corporate. And yeah, now when you see me, like, I never wear a shirt. I'm always wearing a t-shirt and sneakers and very casual. And even in meetings, I'm super casual. So yeah, I wasn't ever very corporate, but now every year I think I'm becoming less and less corporate. So if you meet me, I mean, we met in the last 12 months, I would say. In that period, yeah, like you're seeing the least corporate version of me.
I think maybe that makes sense then, because I've seen this person who feels would not,
Yeah.
like you said, you have changed over the period of time. So that would have been that 8 years that gave you, I think, this freedom of doing your own
Yeah,
thing in
yeah.
your own
But
environment.
even back in, I worked from basically 2004, 5 to 2014, and even in that period, I really didn't feel corporate. And I was the one guy in the office who's always saying like, "What is this? Why are we here? Why are we doing this?" And just it felt like I was shackled. It didn't feel mm, natural to me.
Yeah. The name One Life,
Yeah.
like, did that come naturally, or was there something that from your past felt that, this name is the right one? Because I feel that name has a lot of meaning to it.
It is about me personally. Like, I mean, some people will name their restaurant after their own name. In a sense, One Life is obviously not my name, but it's my experience. One Life was a name that was purely about the struggle I was having mentally with having left my job. So, like I said, I left my job without a business plan. And I constantly was thinking to myself, have I made the right decision? Have I made the wrong decision? I'm pursuing this idea for a food business without a name. And at one point, it just hit me that, look, like you can spend the rest of your life thinking about whether you made the right decision or the wrong decision, but you really only have one life. And therefore, take the chance, try it out. If it doesn't work, put your CV back together, go look for a job. But it was a very specific moment. I was driving back to my house, listening to a particular Jay-Z song where the lyric was, "One life to live, so I got to live this truly as if it's my last movie." And also in the lyrics said something, "Notice you get no sequel." So if you believe that you get no sequel, then you've got this life to kind of achieve everything you want to achieve. I mean, obviously, different people believe different things. But if you believe that you have one life, then achieve everything you want to achieve within this space of time that you have.
I always felt that, this name had something behind that.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense now that when I'm just knowing a little bit of how you had a corporate history, and then you didn't have a business plan about what to do next, but then you went around deciding that you want to get into the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Only One Life, I think, fit the name so
Yeah.
perfectly when you now say that you have just celebrated 8 years.
Yeah.
When you look at it, and knowing the history and culture of One Life, the name is so accurately perfect.
Yeah. And I think with time, it also came to mean more than just my personal experience. So it was like, I mean, in a sense, it's a philosophy of we're all going to die one day. While we're here, let's do what we enjoy doing and let's do it well.
Yes.
So even like our relationship with our customers or with the food that we make or the whole ethos of the brand, it's not about, sell cheap quality food for high prices, make as much money, and retire in an island somewhere. It's about give something, take something, let it be fair.
It's a community that you
Yeah,
are bringing together somehow. People's. I have seen it firsthand. I have felt it firsthand. Being there feels completely different.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
that's really nice to hear. I think I'm in the space so much. We're in the space, the guys who work there, that like I only feel what you feel when I come back from like a vacation. Like if I leave for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then I come back and I'll literally sit and look around and be like, first of all, I'll be thinking, how the hell am I running this place? Like I don't know anything about running a business because we're running off so much like adrenaline and day to day that when you take a break from it, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But also, I'll think, I really love this place. Like, this is a really cool place that I've missed. But I don't get much opportunity to miss it because I'm there 7, 8, 9 hours a day. Every day. On a Sunday, I'm in JVC in the morning and then I come to D3 in the afternoon. So I envy you in a sense because I love when I see it from the perspective of someone who's maybe not there all the time or
Yeah,
infrequently
yeah.
coming to us.
If we can go back to those days where you have just decided you're going to quit your corporate job and begin something new, that's a very difficult time, because one is, you have suddenly now stopped receiving that whole thing of salaries that is coming into your account that you've had for the years.
Yeah.
And then I think you already had a family at that
Yeah.
point. So how was it mentally for you now to take a new step, keeping in mind about all of these things that's going to change suddenly,
Yeah.
and financially, mentally, how difficult was it for you to start from scratch again? And was there something that gave you some kind of a push that you had
Yeah.
to go ahead and do it? Like you said, this is one life, one last chance. But how did you cope with that?
I mean, I was very lucky. I was married. I'm still married. And my wife was very supportive morally and financially. She had a job that she still has today that, provided stability for us. I had we had our first child in 2013. And then I left my job in 2014. We had our second child in 2015. And around that time, One Life got registered as a business in 2015 and opened in D3 in 2016. So when it opened, I had two kids. And then, a third one year later in 2017. In terms of how do you cope, definitely having, my wife to back me up and also to encourage me to take that step was a massive thing. But it wasn't easy. You're entering a completely new field. Even though I had a career of 9 years or 10 years, 9 to 10 years in corporate, I wouldn't say I was like I'd achieved so much that I was a very confident person who said, I know what I'm doing in this or
Yeah,
that. And now I'm entering an area which I have zero,
yeah,
expertise. There were nights I still remember, it's been a while, but there were nights where I'd wake up and, I'm sweating just thinking about the business and how it's going and cash flow issues,
yeah,
things that aren't going the way you think they were going to go or you
yeah,
forecast they're going to go. It's not easy, and I think a business is very rewarding. Having your own business is very rewarding, but it's not without its low points. Those low points can be very, very stressful, and I don't know, you just keep going, I suppose, and then things get better.
yeah,
it's it's a real it's a real struggle for quite a while because you're starting something new. Like when you come from a corporate
yeah,
job, processes are in place, departments are there, you have
yeah,
someone who does finance, someone who does HR. We still don't have an HR in One Life 8 years later. So in the beginning, all those processes are through you. Things that you took for granted, things that you thought happened automatically, they don't happen. You have
yeah,
to pay salaries. You go to an ATM, withdraw cash, give it to these guys because they don't have bank
yeah,
accounts. Every single process is on you,
yeah,
and everything is much more difficult than you anticipated. Success takes much longer than you anticipated.
yeah,
And when you have to have a certain level of naivety to do your own business. If I knew how difficult it would be, if
yeah,
someone sat me down and said,
yeah,
hey, these are the things that you're going to face in the
yeah,
next 3, 4, 5 years, there's no way I would do it. I would say, no, this corporate job is great. I get paid my salary
yeah,
every month. The work is relatively easy. It's a bit of a boring life, but
yeah,
whatever. And I think many people, if they knew how difficult it was, wouldn't do it.
true.
So, in a sense, it's an advantage to be naive,
Yeah,
to not know
yeah,
how difficult the things that are going to come and face you are.
yeah,
Because in the end, you don't regret it. Like now, looking back, I'm very happy I did it, but no way I expected it to be as difficult as it
yeah.
was.
We are happy that One Life happened,
I'm
because
glad.
we have a place that we can go and feel ourselves. Like I'm talking on my behalf, but I know a lot of people that goes to One Life when they know that they can just go there
Yeah.
and get the same kind of attention and love that they got the last time they went.
Yeah.
That brings a lot of, I think, peace in a way, because I feel, I don't know if you have noticed, in this region, being loyal to a certain place or a brand is very rare. People easily move from one favorite place to another place within a couple of weeks, because it's mostly like, about Instagram. They're like, new
Yeah.
place, they're
Yeah.
just going to go there and just be there for a bit, do this. But back home, from most of the places that where we come, we have one favorite place that we go to eat breakfast in. We have one
Oh,
favorite place that we would go to have a drink in. We would have this one place that we go back for longer period. I think here it was something which was not as much available to, but for me, One Life has been that pretty much for the last, at least after COVID. I've spent so much time, because
really?
the work from home culture and things like that within your JVC space. I've spent so much time there with my laptop creating the dreams that I'm living today. I
Yeah.
have been sitting there and putting all of these plans together. So that's thanks to you.
I'm really happy that we can give that to you and other people. I think with us, we never had like an initial hype. We never had this huge launch where we're talking about how, I mean, we're the opposite. We launched with a tremendous amount of self-doubt, a tremendous amount of imposter syndrome, just running around, rushing, trying to do things better. And our ethos has always been like improve a little bit every day and over the course of a few years, which for me, I see like if I look back 6 months, 1 year, every time I look back 6 months, 1 year, I'm like, oh, we've come so far in the last 6 months, 1 year.
Yeah,
But because we never launched with a huge bang, our customers have increased steadily, our sales have
yeah,
increased steadily. It's never been like this huge spike and then
yeah,
it drops off. I don't think anyone's come to One Life to take a picture for Instagram. I mean, yes, they tag us, but I don't think anyone's come there for that
just for that.
particular
Yeah,
purpose. Like we've never been that brand. We've never really wanted to be that brand, and that slow build, I think, is more sustainable. And I'd much rather have that than
I
this
agree,
initial
100%.
hype.
Yeah. I've always wanted to ask you this about one thing I've noticed. The people that work in One Life, the heart and the soul. I've noticed these people are special people for so many reasons, because everybody's always so happy to have you there.
Yeah,
They always are happy to have a conversation with you. They're always happy to crack a joke with you. They are the same at breakfast time to dinner time. They're
yeah.
always welcoming. So, is there the secret recipe that you hunt these people down and you bring them to One Life? How does this?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, our recruitment policy is much less based on experience and much more based on a conversation. So we'll sit like we're sitting now, and we won't necessarily we'll ask them, where did you work, what did you do, but we're not really interested in the answer. We're more interested in the type of person they are. And in the end, we hired people that we grew to like in that short space. Like if I can like you in 5 minutes of an interview, then a customer can like you as well. It's probably a little biased towards extroverts, but also like we like awkward people as well, people who are just a little bit weird, or
Yeah,
even when they're nervous, but they're nervous in a kind of funny way.
yeah,
It's just trying to get someone who can build a connection quickly with us, and therefore we assume, okay, they can have the same kind of relationship with customers. And what's amazing to me is the number of times I've witnessed our staff like hugging a customer that I don't even recognize. Like I don't like, who is this person you're hugging?
yeah,
When did you get an opportunity to get so close to this person?
yeah.
And I think I do think that that's kind of the culture we've built within One Life. We have a staff that is able to connect with people, and we're very good with regulars. I think we have a long way to go with people when it's their first time. I don't know if you remember your first time visiting us, but once you become a familiar face to them,
Yeah,
then
they
it's
open
much
up.
easier for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So in a sense, they're not faking it.
yes,
They probably see you, they recognize you. Oh, Kenneth is back, and
yeah,
they're giving you a genuine service. It's
yes,
always been about that for us. It's always been about be yourself, be real. You don't have to. We don't have a script. You have to follow this script.
Yeah.
You just be yourself and treat people like, they're your friends, and that's what they do. And it ends up like, really, they become friends with the customers. But it's not as easy on your first visit. So I don't know. Do you remember your first visit?
I don't. It's a long time ago. Maybe even that time I didn't notice so much,
Yeah.
because sometimes you're just going to a place because you are brainstorming something and thinking of that sort. But from the time I've started realizing this is the day I decided that, whenever I need to create or I need to work on something, that's the place I want to go to,
Oh,
you
really?
know.
Okay.
So that's the reason I go back again, because I think you attract positivity somehow when you are around this energy. That's what I feel when I'm there. And I've noticed that everyone's different there, but everyone's happy.
I wouldn't want to say on their behalf that they're happy. I
Yeah.
hope they're happy. We tried our best to make them happy.
Yeah.
It's not always easy. It's a very tough industry. They work very long hours,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to, I wouldn't say break their heart, but a waiter or a waitress is someone that does get bullied in their job. If you're
Yeah.
having a bad day, not you, but if someone's having a bad day,
True.
it's very easy to put it on them.
Yeah.
And even me, if I'm having a bad day, I might not be as nice to them as I would like to be.
Yeah.
In general, I do like to, be kind to them, not be too bossy, try to teach them rather than tell them what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in general they're happy. If they need something, they come to me. If I need something, I tell them
Yeah.
what I need. Right now, today, I was saying to you I might be late because we do a weekly football match with the guys, but I missed it, so I can
I'm sorry.
come here.
I'm
No, it's
sorry I had to
fine.
pull you off that.
But probably they just finished now. So
Yeah.
we're trying to do things to make their lives easier, because it isn't the easiest job, but I really admire each and every one of them. Like, I'm not saying that because we're on a
Yeah.
podcast or because I'm talking to you. If you knew some of those days that they're smiling and giving you great service, one of them, like, their brother has been killed back
Yeah.
home. Like, I know,
Yeah.
you won't know. And then the next day, they're back at work
Yeah.
serving customers.
Yeah.
So many things that they've gone through in their personal lives
Yeah.
that they just don't bring to
Yeah.
work with them, and
Yeah.
they're still serving customers in
Yeah.
the same way that they always do. It's truly unbelievable for me, and I really respect them a lot. And I try to teach them, but I also learn a lot from them and their spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful in the One Life experience that I've gotten to meet different people from different backgrounds. And I feel like it's enriched my life,
Yeah.
because working a corporate job, you meet people who are a bit more like yourself.
Yeah.
But here it's a completely different story.
Yeah. Also, I think since we are all outsiders here, because we are expats, all living far away from home, and somehow I think it becomes a little bit of your responsibility to make sure that you take care of them while
Yeah.
they're away, and then make sure that they are okay in whatever possible way that you can. Which, when you are telling me all of this, I can imagine the amount of detail that's going to make sure that you just said about the football match. This is a very few things that you hear that a workspace would be having, apart from corporates doing it for namesake, because the HR has to tick a box saying, oh, we have to do a team event, so let's just take people out
Yeah.
and just do something. But when a homegrown business is making sure that we can all go and play a game of football, but also spend that extra hour with each other and enjoy it,
Yeah.
that says itself that it's something special.
Yeah, I mean, that is, we're trying to do things together. We're trying to build relationships. We're trying
Yeah.
to give them something beyond just work.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's many things that, there's many things we're thinking about on behalf of our employees as well,
Yeah.
to make them happier and to make their lives a bit better, so that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it really is a place where when we come to work, we're working with people who like us. Like, as
Yeah.
a boss, it's not nice to go somewhere and everyone hates your guts because
Yeah.
you're, mistreating them or
Yeah.
so that's kind of it's self-serving as well at the end of the day. Like I work with them, therefore I have to be nice to them so that they're also nice to me.
So I think we spoke about one life of how it all began and the heart and soul, the people around it. Another thing I've noticed about it is how you guys give importance to bring people together, the community, and also create this culture about one life. So is that something that you always thought from the start, or is that something that developed over time for you guys?
So much of what we've done has been organic. So when we were quite a small space from 2016 to 2018, one day I was playing football with some friends, and this guy Jamil comes up to me. I don't know how we got into it. He said, "Oh, you have a restaurant. I have a poetry club or a poetry hood, and we're looking for a place to hold a poetry night."
Wow.
So I said, "Yeah, come do it at the restaurant." In my mind, it's nothing. I mean, it's just something that he's gonna do one night. He did it one night, and he got such a great crowd. I thought I wasn't into poetry. I thought poetry is not my thing. I had a great time. Everyone had a great time. The place was packed.
Wow.
He did it a second night. The place was overpacked. I mean, it was during Ramadan, and I remember there was back then you had to cover the windows,
Yes.
so people couldn't see if that there's people on the other side. They were trying to open the door, but people's backs were against the
Wow.
door. So when it came time to expanding One Life, and the reason we expanded from a small space to a bigger space, I'm talking about D3 now, is because our kitchen, I mean, One Life, the original, was really a prototype. It was a very small kitchen. The space wasn't very small, but the kitchen itself was very small. It was about the size of from us to the back wall, and the same length. So we had to expand. And when it came time to expand, the unit that we took next to us had a mezzanine floor, which was attached to another unit, which we didn't have to take. But that other unit had that beautiful like corner view. Not that the view is great, but natural light and stuff. So we took that space because of the poetry. So
Wow.
that chance encounter on the football pitch with Jamil, who also has a podcast, actually it's called Hamburger Generation. Him and Isra have this podcast. If we hadn't met, we wouldn't have done the poetry night. If we hadn't done the poetry night, we would have never really got into events because it was not part of the plan. It was never part of the plan. But that feeling you get, at one of these events where you have great performers on stage and everyone's really enjoying it, that feeling in itself was kind of addictive. And so when we expanded, we said, let's use that additional space upstairs. During the day, people can work, have coffee, eat, and then in the evenings, we can do events there.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about. We're still pushing forward with it now. I think a lot of people have been there for a lot of different events.
Yeah.
But it's never taken off the way we've wanted it to take off, which is, 3 or 4 regular events every single week. In the consumer's mind, in someone like your mind, yes, I know something is going on at One Life this weekend or this Thursday. So I think now this year we're really trying to get into that in a big way and do more events. We've hired an events and programming manager. So when it was myself or my partner Kelvin, Kelvin?
Yes. I've
Yeah,
seen so
he
much of
started off
him.
as the chef.
Yeah.
He's now a partner in the business, the blonde guy.
Yes, I've seen so
From
much of him on your Instagram because you post a lot about, but I've never
we have a
met.
bromance. Kelvin and I are otherwise occupied. He's a chef. He deals mainly with everything in the food, but he also deals with front of house. I'm helping the front of house, and we're quite busy. So doing the community events and building that was always an afterthought for us. It's very difficult for us to do. So now we have someone working with us,
Yeah.
and her focus is just on events and pop-ups and all this kind of stuff.
That's nice. I think seems like there is some amazing things to look forward to from where
Yeah,
this is heading.
I think so. For me, if there was not something to go into work every day to try to achieve, to try to better the brand or the business,
Yeah.
I would probably leave. Like I would say, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
required for this business.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I'm very addicted myself, and I think Kelvin, to heading towards a goal,
Yeah.
to always being on a journey and never arriving.
Yeah.
Because the day we arrive, it will be a sad day for me because I'll be like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
time to leave.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to do something.
Yeah. I think we cannot not talk about the food
Yes,
because you guys, I think, experiment so much with the food. It seems like y'all
too much.
enjoy, like, because places are afraid to change their menu because they think they're going to lose the
Yeah,
customers. But I've noticed you guys love food so much that you're introducing things on a regular basis.
yeah,
And the recent introduction that y'all did with, the
yeah,
BLT sandwich and the way y'all introduced it, it's not like you said, it's not like a bang,
yeah.
but the way y'all do it is so cool. So it makes me feel that there's a lot of thought that goes behind food that is served there.
I mean, look, myself and Kelvin, we eat there every single day, 6 days a week for years.
Yeah.
So even our most hardcore customers, our most hardcore fans, will maximum eat there 3 times a week or 4 times a week. We will always get bored of the food, I think, before our customers get bored of it. And sometimes we get bored of it well before our customers get bored of it. So we had a recent menu change 2, 3 weeks ago. And to be honest with you, it was the most backlash we faced in a menu change because we thought, okay, this is not working or this is not great, change this up a bit. And people were like, why did you change that? That was great. We liked it the way it was. I had, some difficult conversations with people who were very much like, no, this was better. Uh, in a sense, it's a great issue because we do have people who are really following every single thing on our menu and they notice things.
Yeah.
And they tell me sometimes, you increased the price in this month on this date and now you did it here and you changed this item there and why did
Wow.
you change that item? And I'm very impressed because I'm like, you're following our menu changes sometimes more closely than I am. But essentially, we get bored of certain items and then someone has an idea. Kelvin says, I really want to do, we have a great dish that moves a lot in JLT, Englishman in New York. That was a very simple conversation. Kelvin said, I really want to do an English breakfast, but I want to do it in a bagel, in a New York style bagel. I said, okay, perfect. Englishman in New York, that's what we'll call it. So the name, the concept, and Kenneth, can you believe there's certain items that go on the menu that I haven't even tasted when they go on the menu? Because Kelvin and I have developed such a sort of relationship that, it's like he'll describe it, I'll get what he's saying, and then it'll just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, usually I do, but there
Yeah.
are certain items that
Yeah.
maybe I've tasted once, and then I've never tasted again. But you have to be careful now because after 8 years, I do feel sometimes people are not looking forward to a change, or they're saying,
Yeah.
why are you changing? This is my regular go-to meal
Yeah.
and you're changing it. So honestly, Kelvin and I, both of us decided like on the next menu change, we're going to be a little bit more careful. It's now down to tweaks, unless really we have a great idea and we're like, we have to put this.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to put something on the menu from an operational perspective. You have to take something else off
Yeah.
because it's not easy. Your kitchen is a certain size, you have certain amount of fridge space, certain amount of staff, etc., etc. We cannot just keep adding
Yeah.
items. So
Yeah.
if we add an item, usually we have to now remove an item.
Yeah.
And that item you remove,
Could be
in
somebody's
your
favorite.
mind, you're saying, oh, we're not selling much of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not removing a top seller. You're
Yeah.
removing something that's not moving. But people are
Yeah.
people are attached to it.
I
Some
think it's a
people.
nice problem to have, though, right?
It is a
Because
nice problem to
people
have.
actually are caring about something which would have just gone unnoticed otherwise. Like,
Yeah,
okay, there's a new menu. But when somebody comes and tells you, like, no, I like that.
yeah,
Why
yeah,
is that not in the menu? That means you know that is a hardcore one life person who is
yeah.
now trying to tell you that, I'm missing something that was something that.
It is a nice problem, but these are all one-on-one conversations, and
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, like, I always thought in the beginning you do need a thick skin to be in this business, and I don't think in 8 years I've really developed that thick skin. Like when someone's mad at you for something
Oh,
you
yeah.
did, it still hurts you, and you're in a position where you have to defend your decisions.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm happy that people are so passionate about it.
But
But I had a guy last week who said, I'm not going to tell you what I think of your new steak, because if I tell you I like it, you'll remove it from the menu. Last time I told you I liked something, a few months later it was gone. So I'm like, okay, don't worry. Like now we're going to take it easy.
there is this trend that you had began about the cashier.
Yes, my Instagram.
Yes, that caught up quite a lot. That was quite trending within certain people who knew what was going on in One Life.
Yeah.
So it was it something that you did on purpose, or was it something that just happened by mistake and it just kept happening?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure exactly how it happened. I mean, I think at the time, a lot of restaurants were, posting their awards or getting awards and this kind of stuff. And I thought, we didn't have an award. So I said, let me create my own award, Cashier of the Year, and I'll nominate myself and give
Oh,
myself
cool.
that title. I mean, I do cashier at One Life, so I don't know that many other people who cashier. And if you do come, in the middle of a lunch rush on a weekday, I'm able to cashier quite well. Like, I mean, just to give you some context, before at one point, I would have a customer in front of me punching their order. I'd have a phone with a WhatsApp here. Sometimes I'd be getting an order. I'd have one eye there. I'd have a Deliveroo tablet. Maybe I get a Deliveroo order. And I'd be managing all of that in one go. Now it's a bit different. I mean, I still have the WhatsApp phone. The Deliveroo orders go direct through our POS, so I no longer have to punch them in.
Okay.
But at one point during lunch, it was a very high stress situation for me, because I'd be juggling like all these things, and then sometimes the phone would ring. I'd throw the phone to someone, answer it. So I did rate myself as a cashier. I still rate myself as a cashier. Also, if there's 3 or 4 people ordering, I'll know like this guy owes 57, you owe 42, whatever. I'll do
Yeah.
the maths in
Yeah.
my head quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how it started. But coupled with the fact that a lot of interesting people, like on your podcast, you're collecting people that you find interesting. A lot of interesting people would come to One Life, and I just thought it would be nice to have a picture of them at the cash counter with me, and then that feed would just be me and people at the cash
Yeah.
counter. So it started off a little bit as a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a little bit of a joke. It's
Yeah.
not super serious. I've taken a break from it for like 3 or 4 months. Like, I haven't really posted many people at the counter with me.
We missed that.
Yeah, I wanna restart it, but it started off as a joke. But within the space of a year and a half, it got to the point where the president of Namibia,
Yeah, I saw
who
that.
recently actually passed away,
Sorry.
he even was at the cash counter with myself, Kelvin, Samson, a few of us there. So I'm quite glad I started it, because it did kind of blow up in a sense. But now
It
I've
was
taken a
so
bit of a
amazing to
break
see
from it.
so many faces of
Yeah,
so many prominent people. These are like people that you notice in
yeah,
certain different fields, and these are not like the regular, I don't want to say celebrity people, but then these people are making differences here and there.
yeah, yeah,
And it was so nice to see. Like, I used to follow this, like, I used to like seeing who's there, who's there, who's there, who's
yeah.
there. And then it stopped. Like,
I mean, it stopped. I don't know. It stopped maybe for a number of reasons. Like, I think now the last few months, like it does feel a bit with everything that's going on in the world, it feels a bit
Yeah.
insensitive or whatever to be
Yeah.
posting these things.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a break from that.
Okay.
I have a backlog of a few people that I haven't posted yet, but I haven't taken a lot of new pictures
Yeah.
in the last 5 months. But in terms of the people that do come to One Life, like I think it's pretty amazing, like the variety of interesting people. Some of them you will have heard of, some of them you will know, and they're
Yeah.
Instagram
Yeah.
famous,
Yeah.
or in the case of Bassem Youssef, he's actually quite famous. The Egyptian comedian who was on Piers Morgan and stuff. He's the Jon Stewart of Egypt.
I think I was
He
seen
was in
him.
our
Yeah.
JVC
Yeah.
branch. I have a picture with him on
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
profile. But some of them are just regular people who I really like. Like they're people who come to One Life a lot, and
Yeah.
we have a good connection. And
Yeah.
some of them I said, "When are you gonna put me?" I said, "Just come. We'll take a picture now, and I'll
Yeah.
put you." Like you don't
Yeah.
have to be a
Somebody to be on
yeah. I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
everybody is somebody. You don't have
Exactly.
to be famous or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. Hopefully, looking forward to it. Maybe once the world's a little bit a better place again, I think you can restart it. I think a lot of people like me, I'm sure, miss that little bit.
That's
It's a
nice to
little bit,
hear.
but then it's something that it makes a difference. If we can talk about one last thing, maybe. So for Najib and for One Life, what's in the future? Like, have you, because you have done this very beautifully, a lot of love and effort and time has gone to into it. So have you thought of how do you want to take this to the next level, or is there something new in your mind that you want to create, or is what's going on in that mind of yours?
I think I'm the type of person that always wants to create something new and something different. As far as One Life is concerned, I have a general philosophy that, coffee shops, cafes, restaurants, there should be a variety. So I would never say there should be a One Life in every neighborhood. I think every neighborhood should have a cafe, a restaurant, a place that people go to. But I think if that place was One Life, it would be negative for the consumer. It's nice that it's in certain places, not in a huge quantity.
Yeah.
And I love that in Dubai, even I go to other coffee shops.
Yeah.
There's a huge variety run by different people with different visions, different interpretations of what a good cafe is. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I would never say, like, for One Life, we're going to be in Saudi and then we're going to go here and then we're going to
Yeah.
go that.
Yeah.
But having said that, I do think the business needs sort of dictate how we move. So for us, it makes sense to maybe have one or two more locations in the next 3 to 5 years. But because we're so hands on, we have to be selective about how many we do,
Yeah.
right? Because you build the team with yourself that can manage it.
Yeah.
And once they manage it and take a certain amount off your plate and you have a bit of capacity to do another one, you might do another one.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to spread myself too thin or the team too thin.
Yeah.
So I could say in the next 3 to 5 years, I wouldn't see more than one or two new One Lives opening. And then I'd probably say that's good, that's enough.
Yeah.
But I also think the way I work with Kelvin, we have quite a broad menu.
Yeah.
And maybe the way forward is that we take, an item from the menu, like we did with falafel for the people. We took one item and then we created like a separate concept out of it. Again, not a particularly serious concept, not a particularly, ambitious concept that we're going to franchise this and this is going to be our new thing
Yeah.
and we're going to open a shop. Even though when we launched it at Soul DXB, a few people messaged me saying, "Congratulations on your new shop." I was like, "It's not a shop, it's a stand for 3 days."
Yeah.
But maybe one of them could become a shop.
Yeah.
I think in our business, I have a lot of respect for people who do one or two things in a very small space, in a very small scale, but they do it really well.
Yeah.
So One Life feels a bit like a giant. I
Yeah.
still think we do everything that we do very well, but
Yeah.
we're feeding a lot of people every day through both branches. Knock on wood, I'm very happy about that. But if it got to a point where it was more passion projects, I
Yeah.
think we would take like a single menu item and create like a spin-off like falafel for the people, maybe
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
permanent location.
Yeah.
But like I said, that could be pizzas, which we do in JVC, tacos, which we do in D3, kofta, which we do in both branches right now, but it's actually going to be delisted
Oh.
in JVC. You heard it here first. Not a good news, but still,
Okay.
we're launching some breaking news here. Yeah, so there's so many items, and I also love that about One Life. We're not a specific cuisine type. Usually, people will say to me, "Oh, you have a restaurant? Is it a Turkish restaurant?" Because I'm Turkish, and I'll say, "No, it's not." And then it's a very difficult thing to describe. Well, what is it?
Yeah.
It's not Lebanese. It's not Turkish.
Yeah.
It's a bit of everything,
Yeah.
but it gives us the opportunity to then experiment with different cuisines and different menu items.
Yeah.
But yeah, the future of One Life. Honestly, I wish I could say there's a long-term plan, but it's just day by day.
Yeah, true. I think that's the answer I was actually expecting, because
Really?
that's the style of things that I think you do. If you think about it, from you quitting your corporate job and then going into an unknown and then getting through it and then getting One Life, and here you are today, would you say that you are in a happy place right now?
Yes and no. I would say it's extremely difficult to pause and smell the roses. I really find that difficult. And I mean, in general, in my life, I'm happy. I have a lot of blessings in my life, a beautiful wife, kids. I get to do a job where I can leave early, watch my kids play football. So, in general, I'm happy. I do find it's very difficult to look at One Life, look at my work, and I'm very proud of it, but I struggle to enjoy it as much as I should. I would like that I can go into work, for 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day and just sit there and, bask in the glory of what it is. But I don't work like that. I go in immediately. It's like, why is this here? What's this?
Yeah,
There's fingerprints on that window. Clean this, guys. Arrange this like that.
yeah,
And in a way, I only, like I said earlier, if I leave for a week or 3 weeks and I come back, I'll sit there and I'll look around and I'll be like, oh, this is a really cool place. And
yeah,
I really enjoy it. Um, but I regret that I can't do that every day or every week, and I don't know why. I don't know what the answer is.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I would probably wish I could do that more.
yeah. I think, Najib, thank you so much for
Thank you, Kenneth.
taking the time, being here, and bringing us One Life. I think I would not be ashamed to say that One Life is one of my favorite places in the region that I would go back to however times I want to. That's like a happy place for a lot of people. So
Thank you.
thank you for bringing that to us.
You're
And
always welcome, Kenneth.
you are, I think, only going to be doing amazing things ahead from here, because that's the feeling that you get from you, that you are
Thank you.
meant to do things that not a lot of people would think of doing, but you have taken it upon yourself to make it your responsibility to bring it to the community. So for an outsider like me, that means a lot. So having you here today, listening to the things that I had in my head, and you telling us the story, means a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a
You're always
lot.
welcome. And, if I can say one thing to your listeners and your viewers, it's like I said earlier, the staff at One Life really, they put their heart and soul into what they do. So if you do come and visit us, be kind to them. They're good people. They might mess up your order or do something wrong, but take it with a pinch of salt and know that we're all trying our best always, as everyone in hospitality, not just One Life.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ajif.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.